morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. We are letting you in a little bit earlier because we're going to start the webinar with a question just to do a little bit of a fun beginning of the webinar. So I'm going to start polling now. Feel free to answer the question. If not, we will answer it. If you don't have the right answer, we will do that later during the webinar. So welcome and try your luck. So the question is, the Czech Republic has one of the densest networks of hiking trails in the world, connecting almost 25,000 miles for hikers. The first marked trail in the Czech Republic is from which year? 1889, 1930, or 1975? Okay, and we see people answering the question. I'll just leave it up a little bit longer and we will start shortly. Okay, so it's 11 o'clock. So I would like to welcome everybody to our webinar about the Czech Republic and biking in the Czech Republic. My name is Michaela Claudino. I'm the director of Czech Tourism in New York, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to another episode of our webinar series about the Czech Republic. As I said before, these series talk about different regions in the Czech Republic, different activities, and our main goal is to show people that there's definitely more to the Czech Republic than just Prague. So this webinar will be about biking and active tourism. And I'm very pleased to have with me my partners and colleagues, some from the Czech Republic and one actually logging in from New York. So let me introduce them to you. I have Susanna Holsey, who's the project coordinator of Czech Greenways. I have Mr. Daniel Moreg, who's the International Affairs Coordinator for the Partnership Foundation. And I have Vitek Procházka, who's the CEO and owner of Europe Bike Tours. So we will all talk a little bit about the Czech Republic. We'll talk about sustainable tourism and show you that when people say Czech Republic, it doesn't necessarily mean only Prague and history and culture. It also means active tourism, fun, exercise, and seeing the Czech Republic from a slightly different perspective. So I will start my presentation by just going over some basic facts. I'm not going to talk much. I just want to tell you where we stand right now in terms of COVID and openness, etc. So Czech Republic is open for American and Canadian travelers. If you're vaccinated, you're pretty much all set to go. If you're unvaccinated, it's a little harder. You need PCR tests, etc. But feel free to call our office or email us because the requirements, the entry requirements do change quite often. So feel free to email us and we will be happy to answer any questions. As of now, the face masks are still required, mostly the KN95 masks indoors and on public transportation. In hotels, restaurants, you will be required to show your vaccination card or the proof of negative COVID test. But again, feel free to reach our office and ask for the most up-to-date information. I always bring this link up. This link is a link that gives you an overview of the current state of entry requirements in Europe. So I think this is pretty useful for those of you who plan trips for multiple destinations in Europe. And I also want to mention that Czech Republic has recently been awarded the International Safe Travel Stamp by World Tourism Council, which means that most of the establishments really follow through on all the requirements that the WTTC put in place. So that's a good thing to know. Also, another announcement, we just recently heard that Delta and United are returning to the Czech Republic. So as of May next year, there will be, again, nonstop flights between New York and Prague. So this is very exciting. It should be during the summer season and we will have daily nonstop flights. So we're very excited about it. And hopefully this is a good sign of the tourism really bouncing back. Just a little bit about the country, and this is like a wrap up of everything that you probably know by now from our webinars. But Czech Republic is member of the European Union, also part of the Schengen zone. We're quite a small country in Central Europe. I always stress that we're not Eastern Europe, because if you look at the map, Prague is further west than Vienna, for instance. So really located in Central Europe, a population about 10.5 million people, roughly the size of South Carolina. The capital city is Prague, in Czech Praha. And although we're members of the European Union, we're not using the euro yet. We're still using Czech crown. We're one of the safest countries in the world, great accessibility throughout different airports in Europe, but also in Prague, of course. Official language is Czech, but English is widely spoken. So no problems getting around and using English. And this is a map of the Czech Republic. So this is just for you to see where Czech Republic is located. Czech Republic is bordering with Poland, Germany, Austria, and Slovakia. And some of the top destinations here highlighted, are of course Prague, South Bohemia, some of the UNESCO World Heritage Sites, etc. Czech Republic is very diverse. So we have 16 UNESCO World Heritage Sites, more than 2,000 castles and chateaux, but of course, great hiking and biking and beautiful spas that have been recently added to UNESCO World Heritage Sites as well. If you want to learn more about the destination, we have a destination specialist program that covers 4 countries: Czech Republic, Poland, Hungary, and Slovakia. And you can sign up to become a Central Europe specialist on this website. It's an app that's also available on the App Store and for Android phones through Google Play. So feel free to go through the training course and become a specialist on Central Europe. And last but not least, our office in New York is pretty hands-on, although very small. It's just myself and my colleague Radka Křížek. But as I said before, feel free to email us if you have any questions. Great website, visit czechrepublic.com, which gives you an overview of the destination. And our general email is newyork@czechtourism.com. We are based in New York, downtown, so always here to help and ready to sell the destination. But now let's talk a little bit more in detail about what biking is and how you can get around on a bike and see the Czech Republic from a slightly different perspective. So it's my pleasure to introduce Daniel Morek, who, as I said, is the International Affairs Coordinator for the Partnership Foundation, and who will tell you about where you can go and what you can see. So Daniel, the floor is yours.
Thanks again. Thanks a lot, Michaela. I'm very pleased to be here with you today. I'm going to give you an overview over the cycle tourism and also a little bit about wine tourism of the Czech Republic. As Michaela said, we are an environmental organization. I've been working for more than 20 years in sustainable tourism development. This is our headquarters in Brno, the second largest city of the Czech Republic. We have a big open garden, where people can get to know about environment, and it's mostly for kids to learn about environment in the city, in the urban environment. We are also we are based in Brno, our office, but we also have offices in 4 or 5 other countries of the Central and Eastern Europe, and we are trying to promote the sustainable tourism and sustainable development throughout the Central Europe. Cycling of the Czech Republic is also part of the larger network. We are part of the Eurovelo network, which is a network of 17 major routes connecting Europe from south to north and from east to west. You can cycle along 90,000 kilometers throughout the continent. Europe is the leader in the field of cycle tourism. So Czech Republic, it's a small country, but we have many neighbors nearby, and cycling in Czech Republic, as we say, it's fun and easy, and I'm going to demonstrate it in the next slides. We do common marketing together on the European level. You can look at the eurovelo.com website, which has all 17 routes. You can also go by country. You can see the Czech part of the Eurovelo network, which is composed of 4 major routes connecting the country with major capitals around us. We also run a website of eurovelo.cz, which is a national website with the major routes. You can get a map, you can get an app for each of the route, and there are brochures about individual cycle routes that I will introduce later. There is a unified signposting. As you know, in each country, there is a little bit of different signposting system. It was already mentioned that we have one of the densest network of 4,000 kilometers of cycle routes in the country. But for the international European routes, we have these logos with the number and the name of the trail, which are part of the national signposting system. This is what the signposting in the Czech Republic looks like. We have different kind of signs, but they typically have the number of the route and the logo of the route on the side, and the major destination with kilometers to go as part of the signs. This is the major network of cycle routes of the Czech Republic. These are national and regional cycle routes of the country. We divide them by river routes, culture routes, and greenways. This network is about 5,300 kilometers long. The red lines are the Eurovelo routes, and the rest are the routes that have a typical theme. This map is also along the routes. You can find services for cycle tourists, whether it's an accommodation or restaurant or tourist facility like tourist information center or castle that you can visit and leave the bike safely outside of the castle. On this map is also part of our new web portal that is introducing top 20 cycle routes of the Czech Republic that you can click on, and you get the information about, you get the description of the route, you get GPS tracks to download, you can find also deep links to each of the routes. And this you can find under czechiabybike.com website. For cycle tourists, as in other European countries, we also developed a special certification for accommodation, restaurants, and tourist facilities, which is called Cyclist Welcome, cyklistevitani.cz in Czech. You can find over 950 facilities for cycle tourists that fall in 4 different categories. We also have campsites. There are some must and additional criteria. The must criteria is especially focusing on safe storage of the bike. You know, if you come in the evening, you should be able to clean your bike. You should be able to wash your clothes and dry your clothes. For example, there is always a kit, a repair kit for your bikes for some small repairs of the bike. And these are some examples, you know, how these facilities typically look. There is also the small repair kit with, you know, basic equipment. We are part, again, it's like I said, it's a European brand kind of in each country. It started in Germany with Bed and Bike, and then we added our green logo, green bicycle with the Cyclist Welcome. So whenever you see the Cyclist Welcome sign, you can be sure your clients will be well off. We also promote all these services not only on our portals, but we work with other portals of the Czech Republic. We also make sure that these services are published in the maps, like the Greenway Prague Vienna map or any other map. I'm going to talk briefly now about some of the major routes. One of the most popular routes that I've been involved with since 13 years is the Elb cycle route, Elberadweg. These are the major highlights. For example, the Elb Spring, which is almost 1,400 meters high, but you can reach the spring easily by a cable car, which also transports bicycles, and you can go all the way to the North Sea. It's about 1,300 kilometers. In Czech Republic is about 1/3, about more than 400 kilometers. It's in the Czech Republic. It's the most popular for the 15 times in a row. It was elected the best route in Germany and the most popular route. You can visit UNESCO sites like the national parks. There are 2 national parks in the Czech Republic. There is a Bohemian Switzerland, and there is the giant mountains where the spring of the Alp is. You can also make a small detour to Prague. There is a new UNESCO destination in Kladruby, which is focusing on horses. It's a horse stud that you can visit. It's a whole landscape. It's along the Lapská stezka, as we say in Czech. We publish materials. We publish over 200,000 materials. The guidebooks that are freely available. We have social media, and we also promote the route in the app. We work together with Germans. We have 4 coordination centers. So 1 is in the Czech Republic, 4 in Germany. So we get the up-to-date information about the route from our colleagues that are based in the German districts. We also work with tour operators that are, of course, providing the product, because we are providing mostly information for individual clients, but we also work closely with tour operators. Another amazing trail, which is about 300 kilometers long, and it connects the western part, Bavaria, with Karlsbad and Litoměřice. It's a cycle route Ohře, along one of the bigger rivers of the Czech Republic. Another very nice trail is Vltava or Moldau cycle route that also connects, for example, Český Krumlov and Prague, and you have wonderful sections to cycle. If you want to go for a longer ride, not only the Czech Republic, also in the neighboring countries, you can go along the Eurovelo 9, which, for example, highlights the UNESCO area of Valtice and Lednice in South Moravia. It connects, for example, Brno and Vienna, and it goes all the way from the Baltic Sea to the Adriatic Sea. One of our prime routes is the Iron Curtain Trail, which is labeled as Eurovelo 13. It was awarded the best European trail of this year by journalists from Netherlands. It follows the Iron Curtain, which divided Europe into 2 parts, the west and the east. You can discover both, because the trail is partly going along the Czech side and partly along the Bavarian and Austrian side. You can explore almost 800 kilometers of the former Iron Curtain, partly also on these military roads that are the main backbone on the Czech side. It was used by the military until the 1989, and now it's a wonderful facility for cycling and for cycle tourists. From the Greenways, we can offer Rails Trails, which is a program that we adopted from the US. My colleague is going to speak more about this, but Rails Trails are mostly built on abandoned railways or on industrial railways. They are excellent facilities because they have low elevation. They include tunnels and resting points, signalization from the old railways. So these are wonderful facilities to explore as well in the Czech Republic. One of the oldest long distance cycle route of the Czech Republic is the Prague-Vienna Greenways, which connects the 2 cultural metropolises of Central Europe, Prague and Vienna. It was established already in 1996, so it's been a while since the route is available. It has its unique signposting with the unique logo. A similar route is Krakow-Brno-Vienna or Krakow-Moravia-Vienna, which is almost 800 kilometers long. And again, it connects the major cultural cities in Europe like Krakow, Brno, and Vienna. What we also do, what is important for the cyclists to know where the new routes are going to be developed, we are doing monitoring along the routes. So we count with automated counters how many cyclists go on the major routes. So here you can see we have about 200 points where we count the cyclists, and we also calculate the economic benefit of some of the regions or of the individual routes. This is, for example, where we and how we count along the Alp. We also, Czech Republic is also an ideal place for mountain biking, since we have about 130 ski resorts, which turn in summer into bike parks or bike resorts. We have several single trails and single tracks. This is one of them, Cyklo Arena Vysočina, which is in the eastern part of the country, which is also part of the World Cup in mountain biking. So in Czech Republic, you can do any kind of cycling, from the easy river cycling to mountain biking, or the more hilly parts of the country, which are typically along the border. The best is probably the Iron Curtain Trail. Here are some numbers, how many people use the major cycle routes. Over 200,000 people cycle. It's mostly domestic cyclists, but we also get many cycle tourists from Europe and from overseas, and we hope to get more in near future from the overseas. Briefly about wine tourism, because we have also, Czech Republic is not only the country of the beer, but it's also country of wine. It was one of the first projects that we started on a regional level, the network of cycle routes connecting wine growing villages and these typical wine cellar lanes of the South Moravia. There is a network called Moravian Wine Trails of 1,200 kilometers of cycle routes connecting the major wine growing villages and cities in the Czech Republic. It's a wonderful opportunity to discover the countryside, mostly small villages with the typical architecture. We developed this unified signposting. Each of the 10 routes are signposted with each color, with the individual color and a typical wine cellar for each of the route. We also develop some special resting points that people can rest and get to know more about the network. There's lots of investment going on into infrastructure, into safe cycling trails that are typically going along the lakes or along the rivers. We also run a certification of wine restaurants and accommodations. It's similar to Cyclist Welcome, but it's focusing on a typical viticulture places and services. We also run wine festivals. If you are interested, you can also visit many of the wine festivals of South Moravia. Here is my contact, and if you want to know more about the cycle tourism in the Czech Republic, you can also visit the website czechiabybike.com. Thanks a lot for the attention, and I will pass word to my newer colleague who has been with me from the very beginning of the Greenways program in the Czech Republic, Susanna Halsey from the Friends of Czech Greenways. Susanna, the floor is yours.
Well, thank you very much, Daniel. It was very impressive, I must say. So my role here in this, and thank you, Michele, for inviting me to say a few words about the beginning, how it all started. And I would like to borrow the motto that Czech tourism used to have, or still has, I don't know. Czech Republic is the land of stories. And so I would like to tell you a story about how it all began. I mean, this is very impressive body of work. Let me see, sorry. So let's celebrate the power of idea, because this was a man who had this idea. And imagine 1989, communism falls in Central Europe, in Czechoslovakia. And this man, architecture engineer living in New York City, has this feeling he wants to help his old native country. And so he goes with his English wife, visits, and then he observes that the countryside, the villages are neglected and sad. And so he feels this connection to help actually this situation. And because they had a house in Catskills, and was aware of the Hudson River Valley Greenways and the American concept of Greenways, he thinks, oh, well, how about applying that concept to the Czech Republic, or Czechoslovakia then? So, So he goes back with his wife, they settle in Mikulov and start an organization called Greenways Zelené Stezky with bunch of enthusiasts with support of organization, because that time Czechoslovakia was very hip and beloved Václav Havel was helping it. And so they contemplated what to do, and they figured out that connecting the former imperial cities of Prague and Vienna is a good idea. And the designated route would go and connect UNESCO sites and a beautiful countryside and help the local economy. So they walked up and down the trail with his wife and the bunch of enthusiasts and organizers, community organizers, and were persuading people to preserve the cultural and natural heritage that they have. Don't sell out to developers and golf courses, etc. And here, actually, on the I don't know if you can see my cursor. On the left side, there's a Lou Kmelar with Radek Neprach, who is now a very excellent winemaker in the Mikulov area. And on the right side, the lady on the red jacket is now runs a Kudu Travel, very boutique walking tour, international walking tour. And she is responsible, together with others, to designing the layout and the route of the Prague-Vienna Greenways. They were, as a grassroots, they were sort of guerrilla style. They were marking the existing trails, marking the trails with the stickers that says Prague-Vienna Greenways. So here's our director of Friends of Czech Greenways. He's helping to do that. On the right side, you see Putney student travel that the organization worked with to bring students for work vacation. And so here they're cleaning a brush from the Lednice Valtice area, which used to have sort of barbed wire and to protect the communist Czechoslovakia. Lou and Terry Kmela were very, dedicated to promote the Greenways idea. And they managed even to twin the Czech Greenways with the Hudson River Valley Greenway. And then Mario Cuomo, governor, signed the proclamation. The press was very interested in the project because, as I said, Czechoslovakia was in the news, and this was a splendid project to bring the tourists out of Prague and into the countryside and to help the economy. So here are some of the samples of the articles that you can look up, or you can ask me to access. They were really, really wonderful articles. So the route, as other routes, really, or other greenways, connect also UNESCO sites. Here we have Český Krumlov, Telč, and Lednice Valtice area, as well as natural biosphere preserve, also UNESCO site. So that really is a feature of many of the long distance greenways. I'm trying to rush. So at some point, the Lou and Terry Kmelas decided to hand over the project to the Czech organization, and the best of all was the Nadace Partnerství, or the environmental partnership, because they actually embraced the project. And from that, here it goes, it just blossoms. And from that, the organization, the Nadace Partnerství, the foundation, just took it up and was really pro-energetic. And the Prague-Vienna Greenways became a model of the all other greenways that Daniel was talking about. So this is the new route that they designed. So as other greenways, you encounter photogenic countryside. These are the routes, the biking routes, the hiking routes. You encounter history. Actually, this one I would love to really point out is the wonderful what is it called? Park, where you can find the Venus and Vestrenice, which is a 30,000-year-old first ceramic figure, which actually replica of it you find in the Natural History in New York. And from the old history to the recently new one, to the Iron Curtain Trail, which Daniel was just mentioned. Architecture galore, from the vernacular architecture to Baroque, Renaissance, you name it. Jewish heritage, actually, the Prime Greenways, there's one of really special place, which is in Mikulov, the Jewish cemetery, where actually I recommend send your clients, because it's much more special place than the one in Prague, I must say. Here we go on the right side, we organized first Shabbat after the war, actually 45, 50 years ago, after 50 years ago. This is, we brought American chorus to sing in the Shabbat. It was quite special experience. And, Czechs have sense of humor, so you encounter everywhere. And what I always say, I don't know what my late boss was saying, the Greenways have body and soul. And so what Daniel was talking about was the body, the rails, the trails, the bikes, etc. And the soul is the experience that the traveler has, and meeting the people and experience. Here's our Lou Kmelar meeting, as he was biking, meeting this local babichkas collecting wood. And what is really exciting about these greenways, and especially for the travel, that the local people, started to preserve the traditional arts and crafts and invite the travelers to participate or enjoy it, or maybe even create something. And also along the greenways, this particular greenways, which was the idea and the soul of the creation of the greenways, was to bring the communities together in a common good. And each of the communities now creates another tourist attraction, which we can talk about more. I don't have time to talk about it, but they are fantastic local stand projects that the visitors can enjoy. And so this brings me to my favorite and the most important project of all on the Greenways, and that's the herb garden in Valtice Chateau. You see the arrow there, that's where the location is. So this was Therese's idea shortly before her tragic death. And so just so you know where it is, it's the Lednice Valtice area near Břeclav in the here Lednice, the arrow is the Lednice Valtice area, also UNESCO site. So the idea was to revitalize the chateau and the town, because Valtice Chateau was sort of playing the second fiddle to Lednice Chateau, that was much more glamorous. And due probably to the neglect was probably due because it was so close to the border. And you see on the left picture, the red line, that's where the barbed wire was until 1989. So this chateau and the town was very sleepy and neglected, basically. Tourists were not drawn to it. So Therese had this idea to revitalize the idea of kitchen gardens that was traditionally and historic at every chateau. And here are the documents to support it, which was the Valtice Chateau in 1868 had a kitchen garden, indeed the yellow arrow. And in Valtice, there was also a convent and hospital run by the Merciful Brothers Order, and their abbot founded our herb garden. So the history was behind this. The Kmelars approached a professor at the Mendel University Horticultural School and searched for the place, how to realize this idea. And after some negotiations with the Ministry of Culture and Monument Preservation Institute, they identified this location, which is it was a ugly cutting garden for the chateau, and decided this is the place where the new herb garden will be a new tourist attraction. So with the cooperation with the Medellin University, a student competition was called for, because Turi had this idea that the students, the educational part of the, there should be educational part to the project. So the students, these are the 3 finalists that in the competition. The three projects went to New York to be reviewed by experts such as director of the what is it called, the Cloister Gardens, and director of World Monuments Fund, and many other experts. And this on the right is the winning design. Students were participating also in building of the garden, and the whole process became a curriculum of the school. And so finally, after 6 or 5 years of various obstacles and victories, the garden was opened. And the 3 ladies on the right are the most important ladies that actually deserve more credit for success of this project. Was the funder, Virginia James of Vehicular Foundation. This is the middle one is the director, president of World Monuments Fund in New York, and our beloved board member and former U.S. ambassador, Janon Walker. So, and here I need to have a few minutes. I need to mention this just to toss it at you. If your clients are interested in art, botanic art, this is the thing to zero on, because the Valtice has a fantastic story, and I don't have time to tell you the story. I would love to tell you the story, but it's a story of 2 brothers, orphan brothers, who born in Valtice, studied art, make it very short, one ended up in English king court, George III of England, and his court. He's buried in Kew Gardens. He became his botanic artist in court, and the Franz became, it was on the voyage discovering Australia, and the Australians love this story, discovering Australia and documenting the flora and fauna of this discovery voyage. These 2 brothers, together with another brother, also created over 3,000 botanic watercolors for the abbot who took them in care, and created something later called Codex Liechtenstein. And Codex Liechtenstein is a 14-volume of botanic art, of watercolors, recording the 40 years research of the abbot of the Merciful Brothers, who was a herbalist. And this codex was given to the Liechtensteins, who owned the properties and everything, and they took it to Vienna before the war, and then during the war it ended up in the Vaduz in Liechtenstein, in the castle Vaduz, and it sits there in the vault. So please ask them to show that, because it's magnificent. And so in the closing, I just want to make sure what else is near the garden. There's the Valtice Chateau is recently restored, magnificent Baroque theater. Winemaking was mentioned. This is in the cellar of the chateau. There's a wine salon that presents the exquisite Moravian wines. And of course, around the garden and the chateau are new restaurants and cafes that, up to standards now. So in the closing, I would like to show you also a little clip of the garden to give you an idea of what the garden is like. So thank you for watching. And now it's my pleasure to pass on the word to Vitek Prochaska. Am I there?
Yep.
Okay. Who is the tour operator extraordinary and will give you more of the body of the Czech Greenways.
Okay. So, hello everyone. Thank you, Susanna, for giving me the word, and thanks, Michaela, for all the time through this webinar. So, as Susanna already mentioned, my name is Vitek, and I'm one of the two co-owners of a tour operator called Europe Bike Tours. We're based in Prague, and basically taking people from all over to cycle through this little country in the middle and the center part of Europe. So what do we do? Well, why to go with us or simply talk about cycling? We are 13 years in business, so we hopefully know a little about the country. Despite being 13 or nearly 14 years there, it is still more like cycling is not really something you buy a package and it's a done thing. We understand cycling or cycling holiday as more something that should be your own. So when you come up with an idea, we need more days, we need less days, we need just leisure cycling, or we do have a family of leisure bikers, and then they have a crazy guy who needs to circle around and make more K. That's all simple and easy because it's your holiday, and why not making it really, really personal? We offer pretty much all parts of the Czech Republic, plus the little bits around. Why the little bits around? Well, the reason is pretty simple. It might be 2 or 3 reasons. One is now I'm kind of kicking in the idea of everyone knowing Czech Republic and everyone knowing Prague. But when you talk about Czech Republic, many people know there's Prague. And then the rest, it's not like Burgundy. It's not like, say, Provence. It's always better to show the people names and things they know. So that's why connecting, say, Prague to Vienna, as Susanna already talked about, connecting Prague to Krakow, Prague to Berlin or Dresden. So places that somehow ring the bell. So that's all the various itineraries we offer through the country, differing in difficulty, differing in the length. The shortest itinerary we offer is just 4 days cycling around the city of Prague and in the city itself. The very longest is now 16 days cycling between Prague and Budapest, having Vienna and Bratislava en route. So you kind of connect 4 countries and 4 capitals, making it a little necklace through Central Europe. Well, what we give the people, now it differs with 2 things we offer. We have one thing that we call self-guided trips, which is something you can really make your personal holiday. It's just a couple, or even in some cases, a solo person, or of course, a family or a bunch of friends coming, and they don't really want a guide. They just want to cycle at their own pace. They want to have their time of the summer or their time of the year. That's it. What you get from us is all the accommodation. Well, what to say about the accommodation? You're cycling, so there's no borders where you get into the city. There is no parking limits, no stuff like that. So we pretty much stay in the town center, just giving you the chance to explore what's around, to have as much fun of all the historical towns and villages you bike through or you sleep in. Of course, you got a breakfast, because starting without a breakfast, that's not a good day. Then you get all the maps and descriptions, maps to get you through, but not just paper maps with all that written, because we are now getting more and more in, the online world, and people are more and more at home with stuff like navigation, with GPS, with their own phones. What we do prefer is giving you the GPX file, so kind of the electronic description of the route into your own mobile phone. and we always meet the people prior to starting their trip in Prague or in the other town, talking with them about the route they have, what they can see around, just kind of running through the description, making sure that you always know how to use the navigation, being it the paper one or the electronic one. And of course, bikes. We have 3 different types of bikes when I take it, basically just like the hybrid, then a gravel bike or kind of a road bike, and then the e-bike. So just making sure that this is all working nicely and easily, because you're on holiday, so you don't want to think of that. You simply want to hop on it, know everything, and just run off. And finally, one of the best services for cyclists I can think of, and I'm sure you all know about it, the luggage transfer, which means you don't have to travel heavyweight, having the panniers with all the stuff with you on your rack and just making it a hard work. No, you simply take your suitcase, you leave it in the morning at one reception, and you go on cycling to the next place. And through that time, the magic happens, and somehow the suitcase appears in the next hotel where you sleep for the next night. So that's our job, to move the luggage around and make it super easy for you. Of course, we do get people who prefer more company, who prefer someone biking with them and telling them all the beautiful stories, like Susanna mentioned, about the herbal garden, about the Greenways, about pretty much anything, because yeah, Czech Republic is still the land of stories. So we have the guided trips, pretty much limited with 12 to 14 people. Why limiting it? The reason is somehow connected with how we understand cycling holidays, which should be more fun, which should be a lot of culture, a lot of personal approach. So 14 people is still the manageable number that you can talk with every single person in the group every day. It's generally 2 or 3 of us, one cycling with you the whole time, telling the stories, making sure that you don't really turn the wrong way. And the second one is in a Segwagon, coming with the group, having all the luggage, of course, having some refreshments, water, and all this. And of course, in case when someone gets tired, or when simply the weather interferes with all our plans, getting funny. So it's not really a big problem. You jump on the car and you just take a shortcut. Of course, the other shortcut might be, this is especially funny for you people from the States, Canada, and all that. The density of villages and towns in here is pretty high. It's generally 3 to 5K between 2 villages. And what you can say about a typical Central European village is that there's always a village pub or a small village store. So that's another really good height where to stay when the weather gets crazy, and perhaps can completely change the day when it comes to South Moravia and all those little wine cellars, stories in there. Another thing you should know, we don't really kind of take our trips as the given and unchangeable thing. When you say, well, you know what, we like your basic idea about the trip, but we know our customers and they really like an extra day every 3 days where they can relax, or they just like some wine tasting and they like some more cultural experience. Yeah, please do mention that. That's, well, saying it's not a big deal, it's not really right. It's something we are so much used to doing every so often, because connected to what I already mentioned, the cycle holiday should be very personal. So that's why getting all these little things in, and it's really our daily bread, making a very personal tour for those coming directly, of course, for our great business partners. whom we cooperate with so much and whom we really cherish. What makes it different? Well, we don't really call our trips, say, cycling or say sportive holidays. It's more connected with both of us company owners. We somehow have a big interest in history and culture. So when you go with us, please do stop us when we talk too much about history. But that's connected to the thing we call it culture biking. As my dear friend and business partner Lucas always says, well, bike is not a sport thing for me. It's more like the best and shortest way how to connect a beautiful castle to yet another castle or a chateau or a great village, or finally ending up in a wine cellar or a nice pub for a great evening and great dinner. Uh, Drinks included, yes. One thing we learned from some of our great partners means that when we have, especially on the guided trips, the dinners, so the last meal of the day included, we don't really take drinks out of that, because making a dinner without the great local wine, without a great beer, without something similar, well, spoils the day, spoils the experience. So yeah, we do include it. And we always tell you what is the good idea to drink, what is a good idea to pair it with. Different activities than just biking. Yeah, that's what I already mentioned. You can put in the tasting. We even have some cooking lessons in some parts of the country and all this. One more thing, and this is especially connected with family tours, uh, because of course our kids, our little friends like to cycle with us, or the other way around. We like bringing them with us. But in the end, it should be a holiday for both parts of the family. So when you only cycle the full day, nice. The adults are happy and they have their time of the year. But what about the kids? When the kids are getting bored, they're killing the day for us as well. So we try to include some different activities, like changing a cycling day to an easy hiking day, to a boat trip, to a canoe and paddling trip, which is a super popular and super funny holiday we Czechs really like through the summer. Taking your easy canoe and going for a river. Please do not think of a wide water stuff like Colorado. We have peaceful and easy rivers where people can just easily paddle through, can even swim behind the canoe, and having the super easy day of the summer. So just making it a family holiday. When to go? Yeah, you see one of the wine tastings that refers to September. That's the time of the wine harvest. So we can get for some of the wine harvest festivals, making it not just cycling. Of course, we always keep an eye on you that you don't drink too much in the morning, which would kind of limit the day for the wine cellar. But we can go for different festivals as well, like the big movie festival in Carlsbad. We can go for some great festivals of classical music, like Smetana's Little Michel, running through the late spring and early summer. And of course, there's local holidays, which is more like saying when to go and when it makes less sense. One of the best examples might be the first week in July, when there's two major holidays, so 2 days off, which most of the people take as the full week holiday. And some very popular parts, especially like Southern Moravia, are completely full. So to those who seek, say, more freedom and more empty roads and easy cycling time, that's a bad time to come. At the same time, we have great times like late May, mid-September, when kids are back to school. It's still a great weather, and the cycling time is just yours. And where to go? Well, That's a hard question, because you can really connect all those towns. You can even say like, I like Prague, I like Berlin, and I do like Krakow. So my first question would be, how much time do you have? Because it's not just about cycling. You can connect those places in way shorter time than would just a cycling holiday offer. Because another thing Czech Republic has pretty dense is railway connections. And guess what? All those local trains do accept bikes on board. So we do use it as an easy way how to shorten the trips, even for those people who don't come with us for the guided trips, just shortcutting all those distances. So I'm afraid I'm getting too talkative for the time given. So thank you so much, Michaela, for this webinar. Thank you all so much for joining. And of course, should you have any more questions, please do send in Michaela's way, and I'll be very happy to reply. And I'll be very happy to talk with all of you about future cooperation, about future bike trips in Czech Republic. Thank you so much and have a great day. Bye.
So thank you, Vitek, for all the information. I would like to thank all my colleagues and co-presenters, Daniel, Susanna, and Vitek, of course, for joining us today. I think this webinar, and I hope it gave you an overall sort of idea that Czech Republic is definitely much more than just the big cities or Prague. So from my standpoint, I always say, if you really want to know the destination, if you really want to leave with a deeper impression, you need to get out of the capital. You really need to explore a little bit further. And biking is one of the ways how you can do it. You can have fun. You can, do something for your health. You can help the local communities. You can help to develop the sustainable product in the Czech Republic. And as you heard from Vitek, the country is ready. So they can set up tours for a very high-end clientele where you will be pampered and sort of handhold along the way. But you can also go as a family and really explore the country on your own. So the options are there. We definitely hope that you will at least think about going to the Czech Republic and exploring on a bike. This webinar has been recorded, so we will send a follow-up email with all the contacts and also the webinar itself, so you can go back to it and sort of reflect what it was all about, because I think this was a lot of information at once. We also uploaded some handouts for you to sort of look at or download, but we will also add those to the follow-up email. So having said that, I think there's one last thing, which was actually the answer to the initial poll that we started the webinar with. So actually the first marked route trail in the Czech Republic is from 1889. So as you can see, Czechs have been avid hikers and bikers for a long time. So we cannot wait to welcome you and show you the country from a different perspective. So thanks again for joining, and enjoy the rest of your day. We will be in touch later. Thank you.